What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. LessAlex here for Quiet Speculation and QuietSpeculation.com, your #1 stop for everything Magic the Gathering finance and strategy on the internet. Today, we are heading to Pioneer on Magic the Gathering Online, and we are going to be playing Lotus Field Combo. This is by no means a new deck, but there has been a little bit of a twist to it, a new win condition. So Bryant Cook, the Epic Storm, just posted an awesome video, and this is a deck that has been kind of picking up steam, this version of the deck with Chandra Hope's Beacon as the new win condition. And looking at this, if you're not very familiar with this deck at all, you might not realize how is Chandra's Hope's Beacon win condition, right? Well, when you combine it with Bala Ged Recovery, so regrowth, you can play your Chandra after you've comboed off and you've got your Lotuses in field and everything. You can play your Chandra, you can -5 their face, then you can Bala Ged Recovery it back, okay? And then you can Bala Ged Recovery, triggering her ability, which says, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. This ability triggers only once each turn. So then, that triggers 2 Bala Ged Recoveries. You go get a Bala Ged Recovery in your graveyard, and another card, bring them back to hand. Okay, so then you still have a Bala Ged Recovery, then you Chandra -5, and then you use that Bala Ged Recovery that you got, and you got it. You return that Bala Ged Recovery and Chandra back to your hand, and you complete this loop until they're dead. And it is deterministic once you start looping. As long as they don't mess with your graveyard, it is 100% deterministic. It is, in my opinion, the sweetest way that this deck can win. Now, I know you can Mastermind Acquisition, go grab your Approach of the Second Sun. You can peer through depths them a ton. But for my money, this is the best win just because it's just so straightforward. If they're at like 15 life, obviously, this is just super fast. You just have to do it 3 times, 3 loops, and they're dead. So I really like it. You do not need Omniscience for this. Obviously, Omniscience helps everything. But yeah, you basically will cast Emergent Ultimatum, in most cases, go get Chandra, Behold the Beyond, and Lier. And then you can just start untapping things from your graveyard. Or you can go get Chandra, Behold the Beyond, and Omniscience. It's just so awesome. I really enjoy this deck a lot. I've been playing it at locals. I went 3-1, and my loss was in the finals to a player who's been playing the deck a lot longer than I. So we played a mirror match. But we chopped, so we chopped. So 3-0-1 technically, but literally lost. No, this is a deck though that I am really stoked for, and I'm building it in paper. I've got pretty much the whole mana base except for those pesky Boseijus, but yeah, I'm really excited. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, of course, if you enjoy this kind of content. And yeah, head on over to the website. There will be a link down below. Check that out. That is a companion article to go along with this video, explaining the combo a little bit more in depth and a little bit of the piles you can get with Emergent Ultimatum. But yeah, thank you everybody, and let's jump into the gameplay. We will go ahead and mulligan this though, and we find what I believe is a better hand. We've got Arboreal Grazer on turn 1 into a turn 2 Sylvan Scrying to find our Thespian stage, and a Lotus Field on turn 2. So we'll keep this. We put back one of our lands and pass back. They lead with Breeding Pool. So at this point, I'm thinking, holy smokes, are we playing against the mirror? That'd be pretty cool. We draw Emergent Ultimatum, Boseiju, Grazer, and put in Temple of Mystery. Scrying Hidden Strings. And I believe for the time being, I actually bottomed that. Back to our opponent. They play Overgrown Tomb, so now we know it's not a mirror match. And they shock it in and just pass. So at this point, I'm probably thinking that this is some kind of graveyard shenanigan style deck. And we Sylvan Scrying, of course, for Thespian stage. Grab Thespian stage, play Lotus, sack our 2 lands, and pass back. They instep Grizzly Salvage. And they hit Night Veil Predator and Striped Riverwinder. So at this point, I think, at least in my mind, we know what we're playing against. Probably some kind of deck that wants to play Soul Flare and crush us, which, in my opinion, this is probably an excellent matchup for us. They play Lotleth Troll, which, again, aligns with that. And they pass back. They play a Arboreal Grazer, or we draw a Arboreal Grazer. We play the Grazer. And copy the Lotus Field. Skipped a turn there, but they didn't do much. They Grizzly salvaged, hit as a Zapulta. They attack with Lotleth Troll. We block, we chomp. No reason to take damage, we're soaking it up. And then next turn, we're going to get to have some fun. Soul Flare and pass back. We then add 3 blue and 3 black. We Hidden Strings, untap our Lotuses. Yes, yes, no. Untap, untap, no Cipher. And then we Emergent Ultimatum. Grabbing Chandra, Omniscience, and Behold the Beyond. We play Chandra. We play Behold the Beyond. And we get Bala Ged Recovery, Pore over the pages, and Dark Petition. We actually messed this up, so if you are playing against this deck, don't just scoop. But we then Pore over the pages, triggering this. Pore over the pages. Gets a second copy. And we discard. We were going to discard Bala Ged Recovery, but they ended up scooping it. I mean, makes sense. We actually did mess up, so we should have put the Chandra on the stack first. That way the Behold the Beyond would have been cast first. But it ended up not mattering. We ended up untapping, and we had the win regardless, but it's just a little, you know, you got to sequence a little bit better. And, again, I'm still learning this deck, so, but, yeah, we take game 1. We mulligan this hand. We mulligan this hand. We just mulligan into Oblivion, and I actually just ended up scooping because we were on a mull to 4, and we were about to go to a mull to 3 with this hand, so I just scooped up and didn't want to grind it out because I thought the chances of us winning were just really, really low. So we go to game 3 on the play against what I perceive as a pretty good matchup. And let's see how it turns out. All right, our opening hand is really good. We have Grazer, so we can play our Boseiju and Temple of Mastery, and then we have Sylvan Scrying to go find our Lotus. We play Grazer. We play Temple. We Scry. Vizier. I believe I put that on bottom. And we pass back. They play Overgrown Tomb tapped. And just pass back. We draw Hidden Strings. We play Sylvan Scrying. Grabbing a Lotus. Play Lotus. Sack our 2 lands. And pass turn. We don't show a message. We do not attack with the Grazer. It doesn't have Defender, so we could, but no reason to. Tainted Indulgence, so they draw a couple cards, discard a card. Chromatic Core, so that's a pretty scary one. That's got keyword soup on it. So we draw Impulse. We go ahead and fire off our Impulse now. We grab a second Impulse. We are going to play Otawara and just cast the Impulse here. We take our Dark Petition, and we pass back. They cycle a Striped Riverwinder, then shock in a Watery Grave. And right here, I thought that they might have counter magic, so I was a bit suspicious. We go ahead and play Hidden Strings to untap our 2 lands here. Yes, yes, no. Then we go ahead and Dark Petition. We go ahead and grab Thespian Stage and just copy our Lotus Field now, because next turn we pretty much have a deterministic win with Pore Over the Pages, 2 Lotus, and Emergent Ultimatum. So they're going to have to do something very fast. They Grizzly Salvage, and they hit Nightveil Predator ×2, and that's it. So now they can play Soul Flare on this turn, obviously, but not having haste currently, we are in the driver's seat for sure. We got him under the gun. And there is Soul Flare, but again, it's got everything. It's got Death Touch, First Strike, Flying, Hexproof, Lifelink, Trample, Vigilance, but no haste. So we are good. And it's only a 4/4, even if it had haste. All right, so here we go. The fun begins. We draw another Pore Over the Pages, which is insane. We make 3 green, 3 blue, play Pore, target our 2 Lotuses, draw 3 cards. There's a Depopulate. We don't need that. We discard the Scry land. We generate black and blue, and then we cast a second Pore Over the Pages. What do we discard? A Lair? Sure. And now we're just going to Emergent Ultimatum. We're going to grab Chandra, Behold, and Omniscience. And they scoop it up. They didn't want to play with us anymore. We had a deterministic win from that point. No matter what they give us, we were able to go off because we have Bala Ged. And, yeah, it was great. This is a really good matchup, though, I think. So if you play against this on Moto or in paper, just know this is a very good matchup for us, unless they start thought seizing your hand. But in that case, you just bring in your ley lines and hope you get them in your opening hand. All right, moving on to the next game. What I consider to be an iffy hand. They play Steam Vents. We're on the draw, so we at least have Sylvan Scrying to find our Lotus Field. We draw a Grazer, which is great. We play Grazer, put Boseiju in play, and pass back. So that means we will have a turn 2 Lotus Field. They consider pitching a Ledger Shredder, so they're obviously either on Phoenix or the new Zoomer deck, the brand new Drake's deck. So we do not know yet. We go ahead and tap our mana, Sylvan Scrying, and we get Spell Pierced. Oh no, the worst possible thing that could have happened there. Good old Spell Pierce. And we just play our Breeding Pool, ashamed and with our tail between our legs, and pass back. They play Fable, of course. They have it on turn 3, making their Goblin Shaman and passing back. We draw Emergent Ultimatum, not what we want here. We just pass. At least we have a blocker for the Goblin Shaman. They fires a Victory, our blocker, womp womp, and then they attack in, creating a treasure, dealing us 2 damage. We play our Lair, and we pass back. They consider, flip their Kiki Jiki into Reflections, and they attack us. Generating so much value. Is that a Ragavan or is that a Goblin Shaman? Who knows? There's Ledger Shredder. And they're paying costs. Wonder what it could be. That's right. Treasure Cruise. They draw 3 cards, have 5 cards in hand. We play Otawara. We draw Otawara, which is good because we're able to pour here, which is really nice. We end up drawing our Lotus Field and our Thespian stage. A little too late, maybe. But we have already played our land for turn, so we have to just pass here. They play a huge Crackling Drake. They copy it with Kiki Jiki. And then they consider. They get to convene. And they attack. Now, I do want to pause here because I could have... I do want to pause here because I do think technically I misplayed because I could have Hidden Strings, tapped down their bird and their Drake to not get attacked, and then hopefully draw Hidden Strings the next turn to try and make something happen, but I didn't, and we died. However, top card wasn't Hidden Strings, but it does matter, and I did misplay here. So, and again, this just comes with familiarity with the deck. But yeah, we lose game 1. Alrighty, game 2 against this new deck. We mulligan and we keep this hand. So not great, but we do have a turn 2 Sylvan Scrying and Verdict and Depopulate. So our sideboard pieces are coming in, are looking pretty good here. They Steam Vents, Alpine Moon off the rip. So I'm like, oh no. So that basically means our Sylvan Scrying, unfortunately, has to go get Boseiju, otherwise our Lotus don't do anything. So we grab Boseiju and just pass back. They play Ledger Shredder and pass back. We draw Chandra. We Alpine Moon we Boseiju their Alpine Moon, and they go get a Steam Vents. They opt. So not looking great for the home team, but I will say we do make a game out of this one. So, all right. So we take 1. We draw Sylvan Scrying, which is real good here because we are finally able to get our Lotus Field. We play Lotus Field. We sacrifice our 2 green sources and pass back. We play Consider, which is their second spell. They get rid of Blitz. And it is obviously Drake's. We know that at this point, though. Play land and attack. We go to 15. And we have Supreme Verdict. So we wrath their board. And now we drew a Sylvan Scrying, so next turn we can kind of start to do the thing where we go grab our Thespian stage and hope that they don't have counter magic. I was very surprised after we got Spell Pierced, or after we got Alpine Mooned here, I was very surprised that this was a game. So they opt, they're convening and all those things. They play Island and a huge Crackling Drake, 7-4. No, not too huge. Not as big as that 11-4 from earlier, from the previous game. All right. On our turn, we go ahead and Sylvan Scrying. We get Thespian stage. We use the Floating and Botanical Sanctum to copy Lotus. So we're in business here. I'm thinking as long as they don't have counter magic, we should be good. We should be good. They play Treasure Cruise, though, so that's pretty disheartening. They attack for 8. We fall to 7. We make some mana. I wanted to try and bait out a counter spell, because if they countered this, we'd still have mana to either depopulate or Chandra. But because they have Hall, we have to play the Grazer too. So keep that in mind. We go ahead and depopulate. They think about countering it. They just let it happen. So that kind of told me that, you know, they probably have a counter spell, but we can't just not go for the Chandra here, in my opinion. We have to play it. Because we could up one it to look at the exile. So up one, exile the top 5 cards of your library until the end of your turn. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell from among those exiled cards. So my thought was, we up it, we play the Grazer, we got a blocker, we'll be in good shape as long as they don't have a counter spell. And unfortunately, they did have Disdainful Stroke. So then all we can do is play Grazer and pass. So we are at the mercy of our top deck here. And will it be kind to us? They fire up Hall because they know we have to block. We're at 7. It's a forced block, and we do, of course, block. And we draw Pore over the pages. Holy smokes, one of the best draws I think we could have had here. We Pore. We draw Shimmer and Impulse. So, I mean, they're dig spells. We discard the Grazer. Which, in retrospect, maybe we shouldn't have. Maybe we should have just played the Grazer to be safe. We Impulse. We find a Hidden Strings. We Shimmer. We grab Bala Ged Recovery. So we're making a go of it here. Hidden Strings. Yes, yes, no Cipher. Then we tap green, our blue. We grab our Pore over the pages. We Pore. We find Hidden Strings and Impulse. Untap our lands. Discard an Impulse. We Impulse. We find Dark Petition. We then Hidden Strings our lands. Yes, yes, no. Dark Petition. Are you telling me there's a chance? Do we got it? All right. So we grab a Pore. Unfortunately, we didn't have the mana to get back Lier. We only had 6. You need 7 to be able to cast Lier and then cast a Hidden Strings. You need 7. So really unlucky there. Then we Pore. Untap our lands. We discard another Grazer. So after watching this, I think I should have probably kept the Grazer. I don't know. I think Grazer might actually be like going to not lose rather than going like playing to win. We play our Dark Petition. And we grab another Pore because, again, we cannot play Lier, which is so unfortunate. We Pore. And then here is the end of our rope, unfortunately. I thought I had it, but unfortunately the mana doesn't work out, and we can't cast Emergent Ultimatum with the mana available. That is one of the downsides of Lotus Field. You can't break up the color mana. So yeah, unfortunately we do lose this one to Zoomer Drakes, and yeah, it was close, but I think I played decently in this one. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments below. Let's move on to our third match. All right, match number 3. We are on the draw. And we keep a pretty good hand. We keep turn 2 into Impulse, so we can Grazer, Scry, Impulse on turn 2, hope to find our Lotus. They play Irrigated Farmland, so I am 99.9% sure we are playing against Azorius Control here. What flavor of it, we shall find out. So we play Grazer, we put in Temple, Dark Petition. I do believe I bottomed that. We just bottom everything with our Scry lands, apparently. They go ahead and foretell a card here. We draw Botanical Sanctum. We cast Impulse, finding Lotus Field. Hooray. We play Lotus Field and sack our lands and pass. Again, not sending a message. They play Hallowed Fountain tapped. Our turn, we draw Thespian Stage, play Grazer. Just an insane turn for us. We play Temple of Mystery, Scry, Vizier. I believe I bottomed that. We copy now, no reason not to. Pass turn. They play Jawari Ruins. And we draw Emergent Ultimatum, which was like the perfect draw. We do have to fade a counterspell here. Hidden Strings resolves. That would be a choke point that they might consider countering, but we just have to go for it here. I play Emergent Ultimatum, and they scoop it up straight away. Didn't even want to see our win con. So they didn't have the counterspell. And the fact that they didn't have the counterspell made me think, even though we didn't see it, that they might be playing the Lotus Combo, because talking with Patrick Wu on my most recent episode of the Control Freak podcast, he told me that the main deck versus Lotus is atrocious because you have no good counter magic. So that made me think that we were playing against Lotus Field. And this, Jawari Runes, obviously Jawari Disruption, is played in Patrick Wu's Lotus control deck. Anyways, let's go to game two. Game two on the draw. We keep this hand. We've got Sylvan Scrying, Lotus Field. So we are going to have Lotus, and hopefully if this Sylvan Scrying resolves, we will have Lotus Field and Thespian Stage. So we keep. They play Farmland again. We draw a Bala Ged, we Temple, we Scry. Not sure if we kept on top or not. I'm sorry, I kind of blew by that, but they foretell something. We play Botanical Sanctum, so we definitely bottomed because we drew a Lotus Field. We go ahead and Scrying, get Thespian Stage, pass back. They play Castle Vantress and Lantern of the Lost. So if you don't know, now you know. Lantern of the Lost is kind of like, Relic of Progenitus at home. It's 1 mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, you get to exile target card from a graveyard. And then you can tap one and tap it, exile it, and exile all cards from all graveyards and draw a card. So very similar to Relic. And definitely Relic isn't obviously legal in Pioneer. So our turn, we draw Hidden Strings, pretty good draw. We just go ahead and play Lotus Field. Sack our lands. We could have cast Boseiju there. Not sure why I didn't, to be honest. That was probably a misplay. I probably just missed it. They played Behold. That was the card they were foretelling. They play Jawari Runes. We draw Pore. We're drawing hot. So we play Thespian Stage. Yeah, I think we goofed. I think we lost a turn here because we didn't. I didn't even notice that the first time. So they go ahead and cycle a Shark to make a 1/1. They attack with said Shark. We go to 19. We draw Botanical Sanctum. Drawing a lot of lands. But we got 2 Lotus Fields now because in step, of course, we copied with Thespian Stage. We go ahead and Boseiju now. Did we lose a turn? That's the question. Well, we go ahead and go for it. Hidden Strings, untap, untap. We knew that they're very counter light, right? In the board, they bring in Dovin's Veto, and obviously they have discontinuity, but they can't cast it at this point. So it's basically veto or bust here. And I go for Pore here, and unfortunately they do have the veto. We do have Bala Ged to get back Hidden Strings. I do think I should have probably got back Pore and tried to go for it the following turn. because we can't cast Emergent Ultimatum this turn anyways, so I do think that was a bit of a misplay as well. Again, familiarity with the deck really does matter with a deck like Lotus, and I am learning it still. But it's good to point out misplays and, you know, points where you think you could have played better, because that's how you get better. I'm not ashamed of it. All right. We draw Lotus Field, pretty much terrible. Worst draw ever. We play Lair. We go ahead and tap for 6 blue. We hit in strings. They go ahead and play Discontinuity. They end our turn. So, and Discontinuity gets exiled. Their turn, they play Memory Deluge. They shock. They attack with a 1/1. Our turn. We find another Pore, and we're drawing pretty well. We Pore. Unfortunately, they have another veto. We just play another Lotus, sacrifice Lair and Botanical Sanctum, and pass back. So we got 9 mana next turn. So our plan is to just Emergent Ultimatum and hope they don't have it. They play Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. They play their own Lotus Field, so they are who we thought they were. We already knew that, though, but their first Lotus Field of the entire match. They attack with their Shark. And they untap a Lotus Field and a Hallowed Fountain. Pass back. And this is go time. We just got to cross our fingers and hope that Emergent Ultimatum resolves. Does it? Oh, no, they're tapping mana. Memory Deluge. Okay. That's good for us. That is good for us. In the tank about it. We go ahead and select Chandra, Behold, and Omniscience. And they scoop it up. So there you go. We beat Azorius Lotus Control. We are the Lotus now. And yeah, this deck is super sick. If you're looking for a fun and very powerful combo deck in Pioneer, I highly suggest this deck. Chandra Hope's Beacon is my favorite way to win with this deck. I'm really excited that this new iteration of the deck has been brought to the forefront because I'm super stoked for it. As I said, I'm building it in paper. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you haven't yet, go check out the article over on quietspeculation.com where I go over some of the piles with Emergent Ultimatum and just go into the loop a little bit more. But thank you, everybody, for watching. I appreciate you. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to see some of my other content, follow me on Twitter at LessAlex over there. And I stream weekdays around 9 a.m. Central. And I have a YouTube page, too. So all that will be down in the description below. But make sure to subscribe to Quiet Speculation. Go check out all the articles and all the pieces over there on quietspeculation.com. There are a ton of folks over there making excellent content. Again, quietspeculation.com, your #1 source for everything Magic the Gathering, finance, and strategy on the internet. Thank you all so much. And until next time, I will catch you all on the flippy flop. Adios, everyone.